Nkani, an African prophecy, is a fascinating and engaging story about one man prophecy and how his son materialized. It's before the passing is passing away. After his passing away, he still has the floor to analyze, denounce, describe, make similarities, establish differences between the world of the living people and the living soul and spirits. This multi-generational tale is a thrilling, exciting, and impressive inspiring. From above, Nkani, the main protagonist, happen as well as those still currently on the planet Earth. The narration of this afterlife from his point of view bring his mortal life to its full circle. This captivating book examines a whole host of issues, mainly father and son relationship, ancestry, conflict, prophecy, family value, education, war, religion, spirituality, mysticism, politics, life, death, afterlife. Well, this is going to be our conversation today with my brother, Dr. Blanchard Onanga, just in a few seconds. All right, welcome to the show, Dr. Onanga Blanchard.
Hey, my man. Thank you for inviting me on your show, brother. How are you?
Listen, I know I won't be, I can do justice to whatever you put down in terms of your writings, your inspiration.
All right.
Nkani is our book today. Let me remind people that this is not the first time you come on my show, though.
Absolutely.
A long time ago, when your first book came out,
Absolutely.
you were on my show, although it was not talk to me, but we did have tremendous, time together.
We did.
Today you are here to talk about Nkani.
Yes, sir.
Now,
yes, sir.
Absolutely. That introduction, was not really kind of perfect. What I'm gonna do is to bring some titles,
okay,
to give you another opportunity to I'm gonna go step by step. For example, we're gonna be starting with your life as an author. Tell people a little bit. How many books you have at this stage, as far as this your work as author is concerned.
Okay. Well, like I was saying, thank you, brother, for inviting me on your show and giving me, an opportunity to talk about the kind of work that I'm doing when it comes to writing. Well, so far, to answer your question, I have 2 books out already published, but I'm currently working on 2 of them. Yes, I'm currently working on 2 of them. The first book that I published is called Nkani, an African boy's story of struggle, resilience, and determination. And this one, Nkani, just came out 4 months ago.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So most people, especially the young generation, for you to come out with 2 books, and if you see the length, the space between the first one and the second one, you got to understand that a lot of young people, youngsters, they want to know the process. What do you do exactly? How you put together this material to bring upon what we're seeing, because writing a book is not an easy task. You have to be focused. What process do you take to write?
Thank you, brother. Well, I have a kind of unusual process. What I do is that once I have a clear idea in my mind about what I want to talk, okay, then what I usually do is that I outline a plan. Once I have my plan mapped out, like I have an introduction, and then I have the parts of what I want to talk about, then I just go and write it down. For the first one, for example, I knew what I wanted to talk about, and that one was most likely based on some of my own life. And so I didn't make research at, somebody would make research when they are writing uh a research paper. I didn't do that. For the second one, it is also the same process. I have an idea about what I want to talk about. I map it out, and then I have my plan. Once I have that established, I can go back and forth into writing the first chapter. And once that chapter is done, I can just jump and go to the third chapter, from the third to the 10th, and so on and so forth. So for those two books of mine, I didn't really make research. I didn't have to. Now, the third book that I'm working on right now, since it has to do with a topic that is a little bit more scientific related, and so I have to make research for the third one. I'm working on a book that has to do with the United Nations. So at that point, it cannot just be about my own experiences as somebody who has worked at the United Nations. I have to do research, on top of what I know and what I went through and what I did and what kind of experience that I had from working at the United Nations.
Just
So,
just make sure that when the book is out, we will be here to hear about it. And
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's no
yeah,
doubt.
it's gonna be I know being a teacher yourself but it's gonna be a challenge to put everything that you have in your head, because I know you have a
I got a
tremendous
lot. I got a lot to
information
say.
to give out in 45 minutes. We were trying to do our best to
I
make it all
appreciate it.
happen.
I appreciate it.
So let's go to the next. So we talk about you as an author and educator. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what you do as an educator?
Oh, do you really have to talk about that here? Are you
No,
serious?
listen. What
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's okay,
you know,
brother.
yeah,
I got you.
we don't know who's watching right now. People,
No,
especially your teacher, your students, they will appreciate that. I
yeah,
think.
no. Well, I have a background in English and American studies. Okay, I have a master degree in French and Francophone world studies from the University of Iowa, right here, with a minor, more or less, in African American studies. But that's not on the record though. And then I have a PhD in English and American studies from the University of Bordeaux, but that's a long time ago. I mean, I'm somebody who has a PhD, but it's an old PhD. But anyway, I'm an instructor. I'm currently teaching French and English at Rivermont Collegiate, in Davenport in the great state of Iowa. I must say that next fall I will certainly be teaching English at William Penn University, because the contract has already been signed and everything is, ready to roll. I'm also, I might add, an assistant professor in Omar Bongo University in Gabon, and so I'm still there, and I'm still teaching there as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Listen, for more information, just make sure that if you follow us on YouTube, Facebook as well,
Right.
and also Twitter. Some of this information, if you wanna,
Right.
because if you want to ask it direct questions, we
Okay.
will have a link to where you can find this book. I think is already on Amazon, right?
It's on Amazon a long time ago, like 3 months
Yeah,
ago, on Nkani,
absolutely.
an
Yeah,
African prophecy
yeah,
by
absolutely.
Dr. Blanchard Onanga.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that would be the book.
absolutely. Well, listen, we're going we're going to follow. So then you also work as an advisor. You think you can tell us just a little bit about being an advisor, a father, and a husband, so before we start, because I know people want to hear more about the book than everything else.
Yeah.
So
So like I said, I work at the United Nations. Well, I was assigned to the third committee of the United Nations. Okay, let's put it that way. And in that capacity of mine, I work as an advisor. And so I worked there for about 4 years, and I have been recalled. And so I was working the third committee, as I was saying. And so the third committee of the United Nations is the committee that deals with anything that has to do with human rights, humanitarian issues, social issues. We are, in that committee are the diplomats working on issues such as the advancement of women. And there's a lot of resolutions dealing with women issues and children's issues and the question of racism and those sort of thematics things that we're working on. So yes, I worked there for about four years now, and that is already that has already been done, and I've moved ahead. I've moved to another level of step of my life.
It's always good to have some of the background to really understand. If you read the book, most of the time, a lot of these experiences will come out in your writings, so people can have some kind of background and they know what they're dealing with.
Absolutely, that's what I was saying. That the next book that's going to be coming out is partially based on my experience as an advisor working the third committee in the United Nations. And so it also has to do with current events about the invasion of the Russian Federation of Ukraine and all of that.
Okay.
And, so that's what I'm talking about, making research. This is a little bit deep into analyzing word issues and where do I stand on all of those questions.
Absolutely. Perfect. But, I have to also remind people that you're a father and a husband. And shout out to your family.
Thank you. Man. Appreciate that, brother.
All right. Now listen. Let get into business right here.
All right.
Nkani, can you tell us a little bit about this kind of people been hearing this Nkani, the shockwave go from Africa to Europe to here in the United States? What is Nkani? And what is Nkani?
All right. Well, thank you for the question, brother. Well, in the African traditional society, let's put it that way, Nkani is that old man, old wise man, charismatic man. Is also a patriarch, and so he has valuable knowledge, and he is the guy that is also, because of his age and because of him being um, a wise person, has some connection, okay, if you will, with the ancestors. And so it's, if you will, our modern library type of man, you would say, because he's endowed with an amazing knowledge. That who Nkani is.
Absolutely. So, I mean, can any old man in Africa be considered as a Nkani?
Well, the other aspect of being Nkani is that you need to be, if you will, going through certain rites, and there's steps to get in there. And so when I was giving that, if you will, description, I didn't fully give the totality of who Nkani is. Nkani is also a spiritual leader, and in order to be a spiritual leader, it means that there's certain criteria and steps that a man or a woman needs to go through. So to answer your question, no, not everybody can be in Nkani, because Nkani has the power also. Spiritual as physical authority, but spiritual power. And so Nkani is that old man that really communicate with the ancestors and has that capacity to enter, if you will, the other dimension. So there is, and Nkani has to be between the supra level and this middle here and the physical. So there is some spirituality going on there. There's some mysticism going on there. So you need to be also into that circle to become Nkani.
Yeah, because the way on page 5, it looks like you you know, this particular kind of here has from the start. You say God might have made her to go through. You talking about Nkani's mother?
Mother, yes.
Go through a horrific experience because her son had a very distinctive purpose to accomplish here on earth. It
Okay.
looks like from the start you already, it was like even his birth, it has to, mother have to go through some difficulties, and that you are seeing this as something special, even from his own birth. Do you
Right.
think this contribute to make him as a special person? Why is that the mother have to go through this? Is this some kind of signs or indication for people in the community to know that this man that is coming up is going to be a special person? Why you
Absolutely.
birth as something specific or special?
Absolutely. So remember, it is kind of an African prophecy. So there is prophecy there. And the way you would define prophecy, prophecy is the inspired declaration of divine will and purpose. That's a prophecy, one way to define it, or a prediction of something that is likely to be happening. And now, in order for a prophecy to be realized, the prophecy needs to come and pass. And so, when we are talking about the spiritual aspect of prophecy, that implies that the person that prophesizes, whatever he prophesizes, has to be somebody who has special powers. And yes, indeed, when Kani's mother was pregnant, you know, usually people give birth at 9 months. This was not the case with Kani. He entered Earth, planet Earth, after his mom went through her 13th, pregnancy month of pregnancy. So he was not born at the ninth month, but the 13th month. So that shows that he's a special kid. And then when he came, the lady that delivered him, one of the lady would say that she felt that the child that was born has some capacity, to do great things. And so one of those lady even predicted, okay, greatness and great things that would be happening from the boy that was born, and that boy was none other than Nkani. So yes, there is spirituality there. There is that mysticism around his birth and all of those things. And because of the way he entered planet Earth, his mother, as a matter of fact, believed that he was going to be a special kid, which he happened to be.
So, but is that everything that you just say? Is that um, something that everybody that supposed to be in the village supposed to know? Because here you were talking on page 10, you said his leadership did not equate, not equal to his father's. But Connie was well respected by the villagers. So when you say his leadership was not equal to his father's,
Yeah.
uh, here's somebody who actually is predicted to be a great. I don't know if there was some kind of griot to say
Yes.
that this
Yes.
this kid is going to be a great, but
Yes.
you are detailing the way you come to life, and the suffering that mother went through. But when you say his leadership was not equal to his father's, um, uh,
Yeah.
was his father also a leader in the community?
Yeah.
Can you establish some kind of a relationship
Yes.
with him?
So there's no antithesis there. There's no contradiction there. With me saying that his leadership did not, equalize or was not equal to his father. Because remember, when we're talking about leadership, we are here leading people. We are still in the physical world. Okay, so in the physical world, his leadership might not have been equal to his father's, but in the spiritual world, he was superior than his father, because the prophecy is all about that. What he prophesied came to pass. And so for him to have prophesied what he did, it meant that he had a certain capacity of anticipating the future. And what that required is him having certain spiritual capacity to do so, which his father did not. So me saying that his leadership was not equal to his father, I'm still there establishing that he was not more so concerned about physical things. Okay, he was not more so concerned about that, but he was more involved into the spirituality, you know, the spirituality side of things. That's why he anticipated. That's why he made the prophecy. He saw what he saw, and he knew how that was going to come and pass, and he did all he could do so that that could come and pass. Because remember, when you make a prophecy, in order for a prophecy to be really a prophecy, it must come to pass. It needs to happen. If it does not happen, then it was not a prophecy. Okay. And so this is what happened here with Nkani. His prophecy came to pass. Now the readers need to go and buy the book and read to understand what brought him to prophesize what he did, what was the prophecy all about, and how did it ended up being. I've just told them that it passed, but what was it? I cannot tell them about that. That's something they need to find out by reading the book.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. You know, because there's a lot of talking about mysticism. It's a lot of
There
you
is.
know, it requires the reader to really kind of find out what's going
There
on
is.
in
There is.
mystery,
There's a
and
lot of spirituality in there,
yeah,
indeed.
but also you create some kind of mystery as well. You know, it's very exciting. At one point, I was wondering if there is any you know, because there's looks like there's kind of one two you are, you know, it's like a dynasty of
Of
Nkani.
pennies.
So
Well,
if you were to identify yourself to any of these Nkani, 1, 2, 3, up to 5, I believe, even maybe more, which one of the Nkani will be more that you can yourself identify to?
oh, that's a hard question, brother. I didn't think that you're gonna ask me that. So there's Kanye, who's the father, but there's also another Kanye father, Kanye's father, and then Kanye has about four children, and
Yeah,
so then
there's a
Kanye,
junior.
yeah, Kanye Junior, and
Okay,
Kanye the third, and Kanye the fourth. Well, I would say maybe myself with the main protagonist, Kanye,
okay,
the father, since I'm
okay.
a father too. So
Yeah, you know, yeah, that, and then that's basically I think on the chapter 7. On
okay,
chapter 7, Kani's social achievement after spending 5 years abroad. That was the reason why I asked that question, because
okay,
you know you personally, what you have achieved as a in your personal life. At one point, I was, and this is going to be a little bit biased because
right,
I'm reading the book
right,
knowing who you are,
right.
but for somebody who do not know you, that's
Right.
why we started this conversation with kind of
My
giving people
background.
background so that they
Right.
understand exactly where
Right.
you're coming from.
Right.
But I got to say that it's a lot of mystery in this
Absolutely.
book. It looks
Absolutely.
like it's the reality that is being and applied to you take some element in the real life that
Right.
you're trying to
Right.
make it
Right.
fiction. So
Well,
the
well, listen.
yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
listen. When you're writing a book, absolutely, you are going to put in there some of your own experiences at some point, even though it will still be considered as this book as a fiction. But let's be real. I mean, when you're writing, you go from somewhere. You've been impacted by things, and you have experiences, and you write about those things. So absolutely, there is something about the author's own experience into what they are writing.
Yeah, but that's what the book is about. It's always
Yeah,
stuff that you
I
can
think so.
apprehend.
I
Yeah.
think so.
So
Oh,
yeah, and I saw also especially, and that is something we're probably gonna talk
Okay.
when we we're gonna take just a quick break to give you
All right.
to brief a little bit. When we
All right.
come back, it looks like the books also have some political tendency. I know there's the story that you're telling about Nkani, his achievement, all kind of stuff, but it looks like there's some political aspect into this. When we come back, I think we're going to be jumping into that portion as well. Okay.
All right. All right.
So let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back to that.
All right.
All right.
Look, leading can be tough, and leading without support, limited resources, an inexperienced team, all while managing work-life balance is even tougher. This is an exclusive opportunity for you to take full advantage of my years of leadership experience and glean from my mentors and all the work that I've done, the learning, the trials, the error, and the growth. You're joining an ecosystem of believers, leaders, thinkers, and doers who are here to support your dreams, celebrate your wins, and encourage your success.
Absolutely. For those who just get into the program, we're here to discuss Nkani. This is the second book of Dr. Blanchard Onanga. Welcome back, my friend. And
Thank you, brother.
Book. I'm telling you, this is a kind of book when you start reading, it's very hard to drop.
I appreciate that.
It is a very interesting piece of work.
It is.
And before we took that break, we were talking about the political side of this book. Although everything is, give you a fictional kind of way, but it looks like there's some political implication to it. But before we get into that portion, though, it's any author. There's always a chapter that you feel like, okay, this is one of my best chapters. Do you have any of the chapters that you can recommend people to really pay more attention to, or everything's kind of the same?
I wrote the book. I love them all.
Okay.
But when it comes to intensity, no. To tell you the truth, no. This is why. But I will leave that to the readers.
To the readers.
So one thing that I want to say and then I want to make clear is that the book has more than 2 levels of understanding, and this is what I mean by it. There is one step is that the main protagonist, Nkani, is alive. So he lives, and then he dies. And then when he dies, he enters, if you will, what is called the Golden Garden, which is his afterlife. So there's 3 stages: living, dying, and then afterlife. And so based on each of those levels, the writing and the narration is not the same. Okay, so to also blunt your question, if there is one chapter that I would love people to read, is the chapter where Nkani is transitioning from the physical world into his afterlife, which is the other the mystical world. So there's that transition, and I love the way he is welcomed into the Golden Garden. So that would be chapter 9, because there is a dialogue between him and the guardian of the garden, and that is interesting. So from chapter 1 up to chapter 9, there is some dialogues, but then chapter 9 is really the first 7 to 8 pages of that chapter is all dialogue, and it's interesting to go through that dialogue. And of course, chapter 10 is like the conclusion of everything that has been written, and I love that chapter because it is in that chapter that Nkani is essentially criticizing, you know, us people still living on earth because he's already gone, criticizing, not just criticizing, but giving advices and telling people what we should be doing and things that we should not be doing. And the one thing that I love with what I've done is that while Kanye was still living on planet Earth, that guy was not a talker. He was not talking that much. He was really a quiet person, very quiet, but
Right.
observing what was going on around him and not being really a critique of the society. Once he dies and goes into the other, level, it becomes a critique of planet Earth. It teaches us a lot of
So
things.
how that interaction occurred, because and I'm not asking this question for myself, because
Right,
I came from that culture where
right,
the realm of the dead people and the physical world
right,
interact.
right,
But for the sake of these people from the outside of our
right,
culture, from outside of Africa, and,
right,
and even those who live in Africa don't necessarily have that kind of because
right,
culture is
right.
it vary from one country to another.
The,
How can you explain a little bit how that interaction occurred?
yeah, the idea is very simple. The idea is to view or to understand what death means. And what I'm trying to do here is to say, well, as people have done before me, that death does not exist, and that from an African standpoint, the dead person, has a Birago Diop would say, the dead person is still around us, is still here with us. They are not gone. And so I'm giving the voice to Nkani, who's already dead, saying that he's not dead, he's here. And it is when he is in fact supposed to be dead, then his voice becomes important. And that's where he's calling us to listen, us meaning people living on planet Earth. So basically, that is just my understanding on what death is, and me saying death does not exist.
Yeah,
Basically, that's what it is.
the fact of the matter is, in our culture,
Yeah,
and let remind people here that we come from the same part of the country, the
absolutely.
southern country so I believe the place that is given to the ancestors, the
Yes,
people that have been passed, our parents, our great great
yes,
parents,
yes.
is always some kind of and you're right, dead people never dead.
Les morts ne sont pas morts.
Yeah, le monde
C'est
sont pas
Barago
morts.
Diop. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we some culture, we feed them. We start everything with talking to them and to bless everything we do. But to be honest, is the portion where Connie um, um, in this book, Connie is really really interactive, especially when he passes away.
Absolutely.
You see, he still have a very powerful place in
In
the
society.
society and the
Yes.
family framework.
Yes.
So usually the living people or the one that actually go toward that realm. You talk to them, you interact,
Right.
you give them food. But it seems to me though that in this book the guy is really presence in a way that he comes to us too. I
Yes.
used to a position where we go to them, we
Yes.
talk to them because we know now
Yes.
they cannot talk to us.
Yes.
But there is also a possibility that usually those people, that realm where the dead people are living, they usually talk to us through dreams and all kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm curious to know exactly how Kanye were able to interact back to the physical world realm.
Nkani was just talking. So this is the way I view. The reason why, as an author, I'm giving the floor to him when after he passes away, is because the world within which he is living is a pure world, right? People are kind, people are honest, and when he comes and talk to us, he's talking honestly. When here on planet Earth, in this physical world, we are not honest. People are not honest. They are dishonest, obviously, and they are not truth. Okay, they are not trustworthy either. And so when people tell you things, sometimes it's hard to believe them or not to believe them. But what Nkani does, because of where he found himself to be living now, everything that he does is pure, is clear, is honest, and everything is telling us without being judgmental. It tells us the truth as it is. And that's something sometimes which can be hard because, here on planet Earth, in the physical world, sometimes all the truth are not good to be told. But that's something that Kanye no longer knows, and that's not part of his word. Okay, and so
Absolutely.
that's why I'm giving him, as an author, I'm giving him the floor, because what he says it sincerely. And so, for example, you talked about politics. Now let me take you there, because I know that you're waiting for that. When it comes to politics,
Yeah.
Kenny takes the floor by telling young, especially young men of, planet Earth, that they should know what politics is, if indeed politics is that which they want to do in their life. When it becomes their profession, they should know what politics is, and by that kind of means they should know what are the principles of politics, what are they involved in politics, what is the gain, how should they treat people they are interacting with, and also they should be patient and wait for their turn to come, and not just look, power, and go and try to find it quick as possible. There are some steps that they need to go through. Okay, but see, he has the ability, the capacity, the intellectual, anything you want to say that in a way that you and I, if we were to say that to somebody, it could be shocking. And there is a story there on chapter 10 that leads him, or that has led him to the conclusion he reached at. Okay. And so it's really interesting. And once again, anybody who consider himself a politician, a he or a she, should read this book, not because I wrote it, but because on chapter 10, there is a lot to gain about politics. People think that they know what politics is. Unfortunately, they don't. The majority of them don't.
It looks like I'm glad I asked you these questions from the start.
I
What part
know.
of the what part of the Kani, or what level of Kani, one of it looks like you by being Kani yourself,
Right.
and especially on chapter 10.
I don't know
Now,
if I'm Nkani myself. I
no,
really don't
no,
know. Did I say that?
listen,
Did I say that I
if
was
you
Nkani?
relate
Oh my god.
if you relate yourself to Kani,
But
then
you are Nkani too, right? You
yeah,
too.
yeah, absolutely. But
All right.
let's talk about this book for a second,
Okay.
because if
Okay.
that is, if you relate yourself to the canon, then it started to make sense, because you just said that you were an advisor. Is that a part of that experience of being an advisor that kind of comes out into the giving advice, in terms of you have to wait the correct time? I sense a lot of that. It looks like it's a part of you that always trying to guide, also the teaching part of you. Do you think that's an accurate analysis?
It is. It is. It is. I mean, we are educators. That's really what we are. And so, when you are an advisor, yes, you do a lot of things. And when you go into conferences, you give your point of view. When it's in the United Nations, obviously, you have no point of view to give, unless it was given to you from the capital. Then everything you say there is on behalf of your delegation, obviously. But as an instructor, what you and I do is to teach young minds. And that's something I have been doing since 2005. I mean, in 2005, I was teaching English at the University of Poitiers. Okay, I studied then, and then taught French at the University of Iowa for about 5 years. Taught English and communication. William Penn for a year. and I've been teaching. So yes, that's part of who I am. I like to give advice, but here I'm not giving any advice. Nkani is the
Absolutely.
protagonist is, because I'm not a
Abs-
politician though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, like I said before, if you are somebody who would like to be to go through that game of guessing, trying to understand, and even sometimes putting yourself into the position, because the protagonist here is a very powerful entity here that
It is
especially his
spiritual
ability
monster.
to go.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, going, and it looks like it takes some kind of a understanding of the other culture as well. Because if you were just first reader, at one point you can get lost if you don't really understand the culture
Yes.
within these stories
Yeah.
take place.
Yes.
And we being from the oral tradition
Tradition.
where
Absolutely.
stories are being passed, but telling stories and all kind of stuff, for you to bring that into life,
Yes.
and put it into writing, I think is an introduction to basically to a new way of approaching what we know as can we call it fable,
Yeah. Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
and
Fables. Fables.
yeah, so
Fables. Fables.
which
And
is
yes, so see, the 10th chapter was is a fable. There's part of that what is, which is a fable, and that has to do with some of the reading that I did as a high school student about La Fontaine, right? And we all studied pieces from La Fontaine, Les Fables de La Fontaine. So basically, see, how many years now after I was a high school student, I'm still, working on those things, and now even writing on those things. So yes, I was influenced by Les Fables de La Fontaine at some point in what I'm saying in this book right here. So that means, the French European culture is in here, and then on top of the African culture, then obviously there's the American culture in there as well.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, if you're just joining us, we are here with Dr. Blanchard Onanga with his latest book, Nkani. And this is very interesting. An African prophecy.
Prophecy.
You know, there's a lot of prediction in Africa, but nowadays, with this, new phenomenon, there's more churches than any. Our spirituality used to be something that we learned from the elders,
Yes.
and there was a way we information spirituality was was transferred to one generation to another.
Mhm.
If you go on the continent nowadays, it looks like religion, and there's thousands of churches nowadays that is are bringing that part of the spirituality that our great grandfather didn't grow up with. When you see that, the kind of work that you're bringing into the table, and you see this part of spirituality, which will happen to be a very, very different from the kind of spirituality where somebody passed away, still play a role in your life. You still go and consult the elders, those so-called people who are gone from that, different realm. um, is that something that is this a calling for you to say to the new generation, to this new culture with all those religion, that we export from the West? Or is this a calling to this generation to say, hey, listen, this is good, but you also have to take a look from where we came from, or from
It's
our own culture?
it's
I
it's it's
want
im-
you to
it,
make a comment on that.
it's important. That is essentially part of what I'm saying here. It's always good to know who you are, where you come from, and where you're going. And nowadays, the new generation, the young men, most of them don't know who they are or where they come from. And so, to a certain extent, yes, this will be. But above that, this is a book. Going back into the book, this is a book that really is out there for everybody to read, for American people to read, European people to read, African people, Black, white, Asian, Latino, gay, straight, right? Everybody. It's for everybody, especially those who are interested in knowing another culture. Okay. And this book right here is something that can be taught at universities, especially by professors working on African studies. This really is something that I would recommend, but there's so much that I can say. So, yes, to answer your question, the answer is yes.
Absolutely. So listen, you know, it's always tough to go through everything when it comes to a book.
I understand that, brother.
This book is a real
must read book, man.
Yeah, it's a reminder that, you know, cultures are very powerful, and there is no such a thing as you know, a less powerful culture, and this is a proof that, you know, you always have to have some kind of a background. You know, this conversation is going toward the end of it, and usually we give you know, the guest the last minutes to kind of, you know, tell us, you know, about, you know, if there is any takeaway for those who are watching this program today, what should be the takeaway, you know, from this book.
All right. Well, so this is a prophecy, and like I said, the prophecy needs to materialize itself so that it could be considered as one. And in the case of this book, the man in the center of the book did everything that he could do. And so the takeaway is that words matter. Words are important. And it's always good to know where we come from and where we're going to. And as for us, Nkani, the main protagonist, is concerned, he is still around here. And one of the lessons is teaching us is to always be patient. And if you are a politician, you need to know what politics is and do politics not to you know, become wealthy, but do politics to serve others, and you will be praised.
Yeah, okay, that's I think that's a very good conclusion. But you know, you know, me being in that, you know, in this that's arena of politics, usually is there's a lot of everything cannot be predicted.
I know.
Remember Barack Obama when he was a candidate.
Yes.
A lot of people, even within our own party, was telling him, you know what, young man, you should wait for your time. You know, let, you know, the people that have more experience to do this. So yes, I understand, you know, to be ready, to be you know, to be ready, to be you know, to have that call. If you go through the kind of a thing, it looks like everything is prepared, and there's always the right time to do stuff.
Absolutely.
But sometimes nature has his way, you know, and I'm giving the example of Barack Obama, who actually came at the right time. But even though people were thinking it was still kind of pretty new in that, you know, arena, but it did a great job. So you know, it's not always predictable. I don't know if you want to add something to that.
Well, just to say that he came, right? People said it was not his time, but he kind of did things in the right way. And I would assume that he went there for the right cause and the right objective. And what I'm saying, at least what Nkani is saying, is to say, if you want to do politics, do it in a good way and take steps needed. Okay, that's all I'm saying. As far as my work is concerned, as I said at the very beginning, I'm working on 2 books right now. One is called Wally. It's a beautiful book, romance, but with a tragedy in it. I'm not going to go into the details. The other one book that I'm writing is on the United Nations, and you know, everything going on with the invasion of Ukraine by the Federation of, you know, Russia, and also talking about how finally, because of this, the United Nations Security Council should be reformed and how to go about that. So the next book that I'm writing is going to be a little bit challenging, but I like challenge, and hopefully it's gonna come out, in the next 2 maybe years, give and take. We'll see.
Listen, we are going nowhere. We
I
will
know.
be here. We will
I
be
know,
here.
brother. We're gonna meet again.
We definitely want to remind you that you're always welcome to the
Thank
show.
you, brother.
As long as you bringing, nowadays, the internet is flooded with just junks, and whatever. We have a situation where somebody have something to allow us to think a little bit, to know something, to know new stuff, because this is very, very important, especially for this country that we call ours. It's always good to bring some new elements, new cultures, to give people opportunity to discover new dynamics, to understand that life is not as simple as we always see it.
Right.
So it was a tremendous pleasure to have you on the show.
Pleasure was mine, brother.
I just hope people see this book as something that will bring to them joy, and for those who love mysteries and who love to go to the when you go to a movie theater and you're watching a movie, you don't know what's gonna happen, and then you keep reading, and then sometimes you think you were part of the movie.
Right.
That's exactly the kind of feeling I have reading this book. So
great.
I just hope anybody that will have a chance to read this book feel the same way. So where this is probably the last portion, where do we definitely go and beside Amazon, any other places? Could somebody call you directly, or everything is on
no, it's on Amazon, on Nobles, I believe, Barnes and Noble, and on other online site. What they need to know is just to insert my name, Dr. Blanchard Onanga, and it pops up. But it is for sure, for certain, it is on Amazon.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, we thank you for being connected around the world, from Africa to Europe to here, United States, the Caribbean. My guest today was Mr. Blanchard Onanga. This is a second book, Nkani, an African prophecy. So, sir, thank you so much, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you.
We expect to probably see you next time with your new edition, new
masterpiece,
and your new masterpiece. And as usual, we are fun with you. By the way, I see Martin Luther King back there. Remember back there in high school, you did always been. You're one of your heroes.
You remember that, huh? Oh my God, that's been how long ago? That's been a long time ago, man.
Absolutely. I wanna also recognize Willie, who appreciates your passing on the show.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilson, for watching.
Okay.
Wilson, I believe, is in the great state of Texas. Thank you for watching, and we're looking forward to see Dr. Onanga. Okay, brother. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Again, please go and buy this book. It's available on Amazon. Nkani, in African prophecy. All right.
Thank you.
That's conclude our show for today. Like I said, nowadays most of people go online just to watch comedies and all kind of stuff. It's always a pleasure to see somebody bring out some work like this. Anybody who has this kind of work, books, we do book promotion on this show called Gain Education. Our guest today was Dr. Blanchard Onanga. Was somebody that I know personally, who actually put tremendous and amazing work, making sure that this new generation do not go without reading about our culture. And also, this can be a great introduction to the Western society to understand how we interact with the people that or considered as dead, because in African concept, nobody die. Dead people never die. We live with them. We interact with them. We ask for advice when needed. So that is really, really a good book to have as a part of your library. Okay, so that was Talk to Me on Gain Education. So we look forward to talk to you another time. Again, that was our section on Gain Education. So look forward to speak with you another time.